Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome back to US Election Hub, and today we're going to be talking about 4 Republicans who may challenge Donald Trump for the Republican nomination in 2020. And so, early indications are that Donald Trump does plan to run for re-election, but there are certain factors that would indicate that he is going to have a primary challenge. One of those factors is his low approval rating across the board. He has been stuck at around of a 40% approval rating for the past year and a half, and that is generally unpopular for on the scale of most modern presidents. Second of all, he has turned off a lot of Republican women and Republican moderates. And some may argue, well, he has some of the highest approval ratings among Republican voters. The reason for this can be chopped down to one major factor. Many Republicans who are dissatisfied of Donald Trump have left the Republican Party and essentially registered as independents. They're still right-leaning independents, they're still right-leaning Republican voters, but they are no longer identifying with the Republican Party because they will not identify with someone like Donald Trump. And so this is one of the biggest problems for Donald Trump, that everyone always likes to say that he has such high approval ratings among Republicans. We don't know that for sure because there have been numerous people who have left the Republican Party and they are voting for more moderate candidates. And one thing I can tell you is moderate Republicans are choosing the Democrats over the Republicans because Donald Trump is turning them off. Let me give you one example. In the 2018 midterms in the Arizona Senate race, Kyrsten Sinema, the Democratic candidate, defeated Martha McSally, the Republican candidate. And how did she do that? She won in Arizona by the simple fact that 10 to 12% of moderate Republicans, and especially women who were Republican, supported Kyrsten Sinema. And why did this happen? This happened because they were dissatisfied with the current Republican Party, they were dissatisfied with Trump Republicans, and they were dissatisfied with Donald Trump. And so this is just some of the biggest things going on here, guys. And what we know from historically looking at primary challengers is primary challengers generally damage the incumbent president, and the incumbent president in modern history goes on to lose re-election. And so if someone like one of the candidates I'm going to mention actually wins the nomination, we don't know if he'll win or not. But if Donald Trump still defeats his primary challenger, there's a good chance that he's going to lose his re-election bid in 2020. So now let's look at the 4 potential candidates who may challenge Donald Trump for the Republican nomination. And coming in at number 1, we have former governor of Ohio, John Kasich. He is also a former presidential candidate for the Republican nomination in 2016. He was the last person to drop out in that 2016 Republican nomination, in that 2016 race. Since 2016, John Kasich has been an outspoken and consistent critic of Donald Trump, and not only that, he describes himself as a moderate conservative. And if you look at his policy positions, he has numerous principled conservative positions, but he has numerous bipartisan and centrist positions as well. He is being talked about as one of the most likely to run against Donald Trump. In a recent interview with Arnold Schwarzenegger by CNN, Arnold Schwarzenegger, the former Republican governor of California, told CNN that he really wants John Kasich to challenge Donald Trump for the presidency, or challenge Donald Trump for the Republican nomination in 2020. Similarly, we also need to look at who John Kasich does well with. Well, he does well with right-leaning independents. He does well with moderate Republicans. He does well with Republican women. And he does well with business conservatives. And if these 4 groups can form a coalition with John Kasich, then John Kasich has a good chance of challenging Donald Trump. And not only that, we can also assume John Kasich would win some natural conservatives as well. So that would be 1 plus for John Kasich. Now, looking at some other candidates on this list, we also have former Senator Jeff Flake from Arizona. His Senate seat actually flipped to the Democrats thanks to moderate Republican voters who were dissatisfied with Trump. And so this is one of the casualties of Donald Trump. He literally caused the Republican Party to lose a potentially safe seat in Arizona, which is unfortunate for the Republican Party. And so Jeff Flake has been an outspoken critic of Donald Trump in the Senate while he was there for the last few years when Donald Trump was president. And so, the guy is fairly conservative. He has conservative views. He shares a lot of views with Donald Trump, but he doesn't like Donald Trump's demeanor. And so he could be the more realistic, conservative opponent to Donald Trump. And so that is one thing that many people talk about. He has both support from Democrats and Republicans, but one of the cons with Jeff Flake is he is a flip-flopper. He's flopped on a lot of positions, and so he lost a lot of credibility as opposed to someone like John Kasich, who's been consistently criticizing Donald Trump and being true to his beliefs. And so the third person I'm going to be talking about is Bob Corker. Bob Corker is a former senator from Tennessee, and Bob Corker was also an outspoken critic of Donald Trump. He is more closely aligned to Donald Trump ideologically, but he has a far better demeanor than Donald Trump, and I think he doesn't like the antics and the negative personality Donald Trump has, and especially the media appearance that he presents the Republican Party as. And so Bob Corker and Jeff Flake are basically in the same field here, but they're ideologically closer to Donald Trump compared to John Kasich, who is probably center right to a little more than center right, or maybe center right at most. And then moving down to our last individual, we have Mike Pence, the current vice president of Donald Trump. And so he could be a potential challenger. He could rally conservatives and evangelicals, particularly against Donald Trump. He is probably one of the major candidates who can actually make a dent in the support Donald Trump has. Compared to these other candidates, they have to rely on more moderate Republicans, independents to register as Republicans, while someone like Mike Pence could actually flip Republicans from Donald Trump. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and that's going to be it. Keep